Hello, my beauties. Let me know as you're popping on. Come say hi to me. I'm just gonna jot something down here real quick while I'm waiting for everyone to pop on. Hey, Malara. I cannot wait to have this conversation today, you guys. Hey, Sam. Oh, I'm getting real close to the camera there. Hey, Mama. Okay, so I'm super stoked to have this conversation today. We are going to be talking about turning your wisdom into wealth. And that means to me, what that means to me, is taking your wisdom, right? Your wisdom is the things that you've gained through your life. Yay, 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 yay. What time is it for you, Sam? Must be like 8 p.m. Am I right? Time zones get me all the time. I'm pretty intelligent, but I can't stay up with the time zones for some reason. So anyway, wisdom to wealth. This is like my favorite tagline ever, right? Turn your wisdom into wealth. And we live in a time where the possibilities are endless for starting a business or sharing our wisdom, right? And monetizing that, having that be something that actually brings in an income for us. And that's really exciting for me. Cool. 8 p.m. Awesome. Okay, so today I'm just going to give you a little bit of an agenda. And if you're watching the recording, please hashtag replay so I know you watched it, pop your questions in, all that good stuff. But basically what we're going to be talking about today is I'm going to be sharing like what I mean by wisdom, right? Which we already started talking about. We're going to talk about why yours matters, why your specific wisdom needs to be shared with the world. Touch on that pretty quickly. And then we're going to talk about the ways that you can actually monetize that wisdom, get it out into the world, and also have it energetically exchanged for money, right? And that doesn't necessarily mean starting a business. There are lots of other ways you could do it. So we're going to talk about what some of those are. My intention is to give you some actionable steps if you want to create another income stream, or if you want to start a business, or if you want to do one of these things that we've talked about, to actually give you the options that are out there. I'm sure there's more options than what I'm going to share, but we're going to go into that. And then give you some information so you could actually take the next step, figure out what the next step is for you, and start monetizing that wisdom and sharing your gifts with the world. So that's what we're going to be doing today. If you know anyone who should be part of this conversation, please feel free to share that with them now. And of course, I will post the recording, so that'll be there to rewatch as often as needed and to share as often as needed. So if you don't know me, I have chosen to monetize my wisdom in terms of, actually I've done it two different ways, right? Previous to this, I had a project management consulting business, and consulting is a way that you can monetize your wisdom, okay? And in this business, I've chosen to monetize my wisdom through coaching, both one-on-one and programs, and also through info products. So things like guides or pre-recorded content or courses you can go through, all of that good kind of stuff, right? And so we're going to talk about some of those, but I want to share with you why I'm so passionate about having this conversation, because I deeply believe that by the time that we've lived some life, right? I'm 45 now. By the time that we've lived some life, we have filtered through our experiences, the knowledge we've learned, right? The both the book learning, the school learning, the certification learning, but also the learning from life. We've filtered all of our life experiences, all of our learning, and our unique like skill sets that were just naturally part of us through the most unique thing on the planet, which is you, right? So even if you had two people who had identical lives, right? They had the same life experiences, they walked the same steps, they learned the same thing, they interacted with the same people, they would still end up having a unique wisdom to share with the world, because all of that stuff still gets filtered through you, and you are a unique individual. So even if you've been looking into the online space, or you're in the online space or whatever, and you're thinking to yourself, there's a million people out there doing this, certainly there's not room for me, blah, 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 blah. That's actually not true, because there's no one out there that is you. Okay. But the caveat to that is if you get into the online space and you try to copy what someone else is doing, then that is where there's not enough room for you, because that person is already being them, right? Does this make sense? Let me know in the comments if this is making sense. So part of turning your wisdom into wealth is really embodying the fact that you have a unique perspective on it, right? You have a unique flavor. You have unique things to say, ways of showing up, things you're offering, all of that stuff. Sorry, my nose itches. So whatever avenue you choose to monetize your wisdom, right? To turn your wisdom into wealth. Hey, I can't say it. Hi, Cindy. Every time I say hey and your name, it thinks I'm talking to Siri, and that's why it pauses me. So I have to remember not to say hey followed by your name, Cindy. Happens every time. Oh yeah, I know. Plus I talk really fast, right? And if this isn't something that you've thought about in these ways or whatever, yeah, so absolutely. So the number one pitfall when people start, and I experienced this myself, okay, in this particular business, and especially around building a business online, what happens is we see people, right? We're intaking information from people, and maybe we're investing, like I did, we're investing in mentors, right? Who are actually teaching you things. And it is very natural, even unconsciously, to take on what they are teaching or what you're seeing and to regurgitate that stuff, right? Not intentionally trying to copy someone else's magic or trying to copy the way that they're doing it, but it's almost like, oh, that's just the way it's done, right? And so the number one pitfall when you're trying to learn to monetize your wisdom, turn your wisdom into wealth, specifically in this kind of online community space, is thinking the way to do it is to do what someone else did. And it's even being perpetuated because people are actually teaching this. This is how they're monetizing their wisdom, right? They're teaching other people to do it exactly the way they did it. And that is never going to take you the places that you want it to, because that's someone else's magic. That's someone else's way of being, right? That is not your magic. That's not your unique wisdom. That's not your unique way of being. So throughout this conversation, remember that the key to all of this is really to tap into your own unique wisdom and your own unique way of being and show up that way. If you guys don't follow the Sober Upcycler, she's got this nailed, right? In terms of being yourself and being authentic and showing up and seeing the stuff that you created for your upcycling business, right? Like, this is all unique to you, and I love that. So if you guys go follow her and check it out, you can see exactly what I'm talking about. So always, always, always recognize your own gifts, your own way of doing things and showing up in that place, because this is your wisdom. Like we were talking about at the beginning, this is all of the stuff that's filtered through you, and you are a unique individual. So of course your wisdom is unique. Yeah, of course. And the reason that your unique wisdom matters is because I believe that we are here for a reason, right? I deeply believe in whatever your beliefs are, right? Whatever you believe in or don't believe in, or think about, soul, spirit, your incarnation, all of that stuff. I believe that we're here for a reason, right? And part of that reason is to live this life and share the wisdom that we gain throughout this life in whatever way that looks like, right? And not everyone is going to start a business. Not everyone is going to start a business, but there are ways to monetize your wisdom, even if you don't start a business. Hey, and we're going to talk about some of those. Some of these could just be income streams that don't necessarily fit the mold of a traditional business, right? So as I was talking about in the beginning, the way that I've chosen in my two different businesses to monetize my wisdom, one is I started a consulting business, right? I took my project management experience and my experience with technical projects and my experience in business analysis and all this like software replacement project experience, and I became a consulting business, right? So I could consult out to others. I could work on projects as a contractor, and it gave me the freedom to be able to do what I wanted for the most part. It gave me the freedom to charge a premium price, right? And it also gave me the freedom to move around and to do multiple things at once if I wanted to, okay? Then in this business, I've chosen to monetize my wisdom in terms of one-on-one coaching and mentoring, running coaching programs, creating, courses and info products and such that are for sale, right? And I'm looking to potentially expand into other businesses, right? I have other businesses that I'm going to use to monetize my wisdom, both partially becoming an influencer in one line of work, and another I'm looking at like, how do I create event spaces? And I have these great ideas for opening like retreat centers and such, right? So I'm monetizing my experience with a bunch of different avenues, okay? Now, at this point, and for the last over 3 years, this has been my full-time gig. This coaching business, this coaching and mentoring business, right? Now, not everyone wants to be a coach, right? I happen to love helping people. I love mentoring people. It's a skill I've always had. It's one of the reasons that being a project manager fit so well, was because I was able to run projects and work with people in that way, right? And it's something that I've always done, whether it was in my personal life, whether it's in my personal life or my professional life. So this makes sense, right? I have monetized the skill of mentorship because it's a natural gift that I have. It's a natural thing that I have that I'm excited about, that I like to do, that makes sense to me, but it's not for everyone. And I know there's so many people in the coaching industry right now because it seems like that's an easy way to monetize, right? And to start an online business or whatever. Let me tell you, the coaching space is not the easiest way to do it. So if you ever get into this space because you think it's going to be easy, let me just let you know right now that this is not the easiest way to do it, right? So let's talk about the different ways that you could. We'll talk about the different ways that you could. And then if you guys have specific questions around like your background, your experience, ideas that you have, any of this stuff where you want me to walk you through and kind of brainstorm with you, specific ideas that you could turn into another income stream, please feel free to drop those in the comments, right? I'm happy to this is one of my gifts as well, is like being able to see how you could fit this in and what you could possibly do with it. So if you want to brainstorm some ideas, this is a great place to do that. And even if you're watching the recording and you want to drop them into the comments, I'm happy to come back and riff on that for you, okay? So, actually, let's start with how do we identify what our wisdom is, right? Before we get into what we could do with it, let's talk about the wisdom itself. So how do you know what your wisdom is, right? How do you identify the wisdom that you have inside of you that is potentially monetizable, right? That it could potentially be turned into wealth. The most basic way to do this, if you want to do it on your own, is to sit down and start literally free writing about everything you've done in your life, everything you've experienced, where you came from, where you've worked, what you've done, what you've learned, if you have degrees or certifications or any of that stuff, start free writing all of the stuff that you've done in your life, right? And as you're doing that, or after you do that, go back to each of those moments in time and ask yourself, what is something I learned here? Or what is a tool I had here? Or what is something I did here that could potentially help other people in the same kind of situation, right? And when you start to look at your life over the course of your life, and you look at it from this objective way, not as that was a life experience I had, not looking at it from within really, but looking at it from without. Go back over your lifetime, your life experience, and start looking at these things, but look at it as an objective observer and ask yourself, what are the things that I either learned here, right? Skills I developed, that kind of stuff. Or what did I do in this moment or this situation? And what are things that I could actually share for people going through a similar situation that would actually help them through this transition or help them through this experience, right? Because I believe ultimately our wisdom is here to help. So this is a really simple way to start looking at your life and saying, what is it here that I have to offer? And then as you do that, you're going to have what seems to be a lot of disjointed things, right? That maybe don't go together. But I want you to look at this from the perspective of like innovation, right? Start looking at what are the different things that you offer and allow yourself the freedom and creativity to let ideas flow around what you could possibly do with this stuff, or why people would want it, or how you could package it up, or any of that stuff, right? Now, if you struggle to do stuff on your own like this, or you're not interested in doing it on your own, come talk to me, because this is part of what we're doing in Business on Purpose. When we get started inside of that Business on Purpose, we're going to be going through all of this wisdom, identification, creation, packaging, all of that stuff. So if you're interested in that, feel free to reach out and we'll talk about how you can come join us, because I'm actually going to be taking people through doing this and reflecting back to them exactly what I'm seeing there. So we're going to brainstorm and do that stuff. Okay. So the sober upcycler said, perseverance. I may not know exactly what I'm doing, but I will push my boundaries, except I'm not business minded. So perseverance is one of the, I think I just did a post on this, is one of like my greatest attributes. It's also sometimes a curse, but I'm going to call it the greatest attribute. Here's why. Because, hey, Valentina, excited to see you. Here's why. Because entrepreneurship is not easy, right? Anyone who tells you that starting a new business or monetizing your wisdom, or, you know, going out there and doing this thing that you've never done before in a business is easy is smoking something, in my opinion, right? This is the trippiest, mind fuckeriest experience that you could possibly have. Well, that I've had. And so perseverance has taken me places that I would have never got, right? So many people don't make it because they quit. And they quit before it's done, right? This is a real journey. It's a journey to like becoming the leader that you're born to be, and like, you know, becoming this like known entity, whether it's your business or it's you personally. It's becoming this like known thing. So that perseverance is going to serve you for so many things, right? And the business-minded stuff can be learned, right? We don't all have everything. This is why there's a coaching industry and a mentoring industry, and why there's different people in different careers and roles, right? Because not all of us have all of it. So your perseverance will take you far, and the business-minded thing you can learn, or you can find someone like me who can support you in developing the actual business side of things, right? But the perseverance is something that will serve you well. And in terms of monetizing your perseverance, there are people out there who are business minded, right? But they don't have the perseverance to push through, right? Like maybe they have great ideas, maybe they have great things to share, all of that stuff. Or maybe that, you know, it doesn't have to be in a business mindset, right? But this idea that like someone else could use your perseverance. Perseverance itself is a marketable bit of wisdom in creating support. It's actually something that a lot of people come to me for without even knowing. And that's because I'm holding them in the space of moving through the things that would have blocked them or stopped them if they were on their own, right? So there's an example of how you could monetize something that's natural to you. And thank you for sharing. Let me know if that made sense, or if you want to dive deeper into that. Whew. Valentina, I saw you started your copywriting business. This excites me. Maybe you've been doing this for a while and I just saw it because all of a sudden it just started showing up or whatever. But I've just started seeing all your posts that you're doing copywriting, and that just makes me like giddy and excited. That's so great. You are so welcome. Yes. Always welcome. Okay, so let's talk about some of the ways that you could monetize your wealth or turn your wisdom into wealth, right? As I mentioned a bunch of them because I've done them, right? But there's this idea that when we talk about, I think because there's so many people in the coaching industry, right? Or it feels that way to me anyway, because I'm in that industry, so I'm seeing that a lot. But there's this idea that you like have to coach in order to share your wisdom, or you have to be a teacher or a mentor or, you know, a boss or something like this. There's actually tons of ways you can monetize your wisdom, right? So some of the things we talked about, like info products. If you don't know what info products are, you can think of these as like things that people can buy that can consume your wisdom, right? You're not necessarily teaching in a one-on-one or in a live experience. It could be things like workbooks or guides, things like audio or video recordings, courses that are pre-recorded that people go and watch on their own time, like any of these products that can get packaged up as a standalone product that are made, that contain information that you're sharing with someone around a topic, right? And then you can sell them over and over and over again, and it doesn't take you any more time, right? You just set it up automatically and it sells and people buy it and consume it on their own time, right? And okay. And sorry, gotta moderate. One of these days I'm gonna assign a moderator to these things. So anyway, any of these products that you can package up your information and sell it on repeat and people buy it and they can consume it on their own time and it doesn't actually take more of your time to do it. These are info products. And there are info products. There is a space for info products in everything. So Sam, if we were talking about, I can think of two things right off the bat that you could monetize, right? You could monetize like a guide or a system around how you create your artwork or how you upcycle or thrifting secrets or, there's all this stuff that you could do. Or you could even monetize a guide around sober lifestyle and like how do we transition, or recipes for mocktails, right? Like I'm obsessed with mocktails right now. So there's all this stuff that you can take the wisdom that you have, and that's just the stuff I know about you, right? So it's like you can take the information you have and package it up and put it in a way that you can sell it over and over and over again, right? And this is such a great way to create another income stream that doesn't take all of your time, right? It doesn't take all of your time. You're building a community on Instagram, not necessarily to sell these info products, but you're building this community on Instagram. Why not have a link in your Instagram where people can go find resources that actually help them more than you can do on Instagram? And the price of those things is at a price point that people can reach. And that money actually helps you live your best life, show up more, do all the things more, right? And so it's this beautiful like ebb and flow, give and take of this experience of community and of sharing your wisdom in a way that actually helps people and brings you income, okay? So info products are awesome. Books. Right? Traditional books or self-published books, like you could write a book and sell it on Amazon or get a book deal, right? And a book is actually a really like old way of turning your wisdom to wealth, right? It's actually the thing that probably started it all, right? It's like if you write a book and people buy it, you have just turned your wisdom into wealth, okay? And it's never been easier than now to publish a book because you can self-publish on Amazon, right? And other places. So you could write a book. Becoming a speaker, right? Getting paid speaking engagements where you go and you talk about the things that you give a talk based on your wisdom, right? And you actually get paid to share your wisdom, okay? Coaching and mentoring obviously is one that we've already talked about a lot. It's like, yes, of course, people come and pay me to share my wisdom with them and hold space for them because that's the option I've created. Hi, Emily. Welcome. So, consulting, as I talked about a little bit before, right? You can become like a consultant, like I did in my project management career, where you are still technically working in the field, right? But you're not working as an employee. You're building a business where you actually are able to charge more for your wisdom. You're able to work multiple accounts, probably. You're able to bring more people on and work underneath you, right? You're able to build up this business by consulting on the stuff that you are an expert in, your wisdom, right? And you can even take this farther in things like done-for-you services, right? So in the online space, there's a lot of people who are doing done-for-you services. Like Valentina, I mentioned her copywriting business earlier. That is a done-for-you service, right? Copywriters who have copywriting businesses get paid to write other people's copy for their emails or their social media or their landing pages or websites or whatever, right? And that's a done-for-you service that you get. You get to monetize your wisdom. She's an epic writer who has, expert knowledge and skills in writing copy. And so someone who has a business like me who doesn't necessarily, I love to write my own copy, but someone who doesn't necessarily love to write, right, could go hire her to do the thing that she's good at. So this is another example of monetizing your wealth. And there are websites where you can go and find, like, you can go set up a profile and people can find you and come buy from you, right? There's like Upwork, which is the one that I've used the most. And then there's Fiverr, which isn't my favorite, but you know, and then I'm sure there's other ones, but you can go and hire people for jobs to like do the thing that they're amazing at. So there's done for you services as well. There's consulting and there's done for you services, right? And products, like physical products, right? Or maybe digital products, but physical products. So if you have wisdom around, I don't know, I'm going to go with like birthing, right? If you're like a nurse or a doula or something and you understand the birthing process and you've been through this process enough times with people, right? You could create a revolutionary product that changes the way people have babies. I'm just making this up because I've had 2 babies, but I'm not an expert in babies, not an expert in birth, right? So you revolutionize the birthing space because you build a product based on your wisdom. So you have now monetized that wisdom, not necessarily in teaching other people your wisdom, but in building a product that provides something that those people need. Does that make sense? So there are a billion ways to monetize your wisdom. I think the important thing here is to remember. Yeah, of course, Sam. Don't get shouted at. Go walk the dogs. And if you want, I'll be posting the recording so you can hear the rest. We're almost done here, actually. So, yeah. So, I got distracted. Yeah, so those are just some of the ways, right, to monetize your wisdom. And I think the important thing to take from this is that it doesn't have to be hard. And you don't have to put all of your eggs in one basket, right? You can have multiple streams of income. And when you start introducing different ways to monetize your wealth, those different ways can compound on themselves. And pretty soon you've got this thriving business, right? And you're actually helping people and making a difference in the world. So if you've enjoyed this, and I know we've gone through a lot of stuff, if you have questions or whatever, feel free to pop those in. But I would love to know, if you're watching now or you're watching the replay, I would love to know, like, how are you monetizing your wisdom right now? And if you're not, or even if you are, what ways are you going to explore in terms of monetizing your wisdom, right? Like maybe there's an info product that you can make in a couple of hours and sell, right? Maybe there's a book you're going to write. Maybe there's a product you're going to create, right? Like, how are you going to start to monetize your wisdom and build these multiple income streams or more income into your life and also helping people in the process? Also, I've got so many ponytails in to be able to get this to even be a thing because my hair's so short. Might have to take it out. Might end up with a headache. So, if you decide... Yeah, that didn't come out right. This has been so much. All right, you guys, if you want to learn more about info products, if you want to learn more about monetizing your wealth, turning your wealth into wisdom, right? And you really want help, like we talked about in the beginning, where we go from doing it alone to actually getting some help, come message me, let me know. Let's talk about how you can come be part of Business on Purpose and start doing this with us. We are starting soon, and I'm super excited about this. We're going to be talking about creating multiple income streams, monetizing your wisdom, right? Turning your wisdom into wealth, and letting that be the thing that creates the lifestyle and the freedom that you've always desired. So I appreciate you guys being on live with me. Thanks, Mama. I love you guys so much. And again, if you're watching the replay, happy to answer your questions in the comments. Bye.